dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, a Breathitt County woman's disappearance in February of 2017 is still unsolved. Today is Debbie Licaria's 60th birthday, the second one she spent away from her family. With no break in the case, the family tells WYMT's Taylor Upchurch there's no better day to share her story than her birthday.
A birthday filled with tears instead of laughter.
I want to see the joy on her face. I miss my mom.
In early February of 2017, Annie Licaria says her mom, Debbie, borrowed a neighbor's phone to call family. She walked home and was never seen again.
There was a couple of people that pulled up in her driveway and walked with her into the house. And that was the last time anybody's seen her.
Annie went to check on her mom during severe weather. No answer came from knocking on her door. She says when police showed up, an unknown dog kept them from stepping inside. Looking back on the last few days she spent with her mom, she says Debbie seemed distant.
And she was even scared to leave her house.
Though 2 years have passed, family still holds on to hope.
I want her to wrap her arms around me and tell me that everything's all fine, she's home. And I haven't got that yet, but I still have hope.
Needing this birthday wish to come true. In Breathitt County, Taylor Upchurch, WYMT Mountain News.
If you have any information, you should call Kentucky State Police Post 13 in Hazard at 606-435-6069.
Well, it's been a beautiful day across our area. Definitely felt like spring today, but we're starting to see those clouds increase, which is going to bring in some of those rain chances as well. You'll notice here on our Moorhead cam along Interstate 64, those clouds really increasing throughout the day, but it's been pretty warm outside, and it still is as we look to Jackson. Starting to see those mostly cloudy skies there as well, but temperatures near 74 degrees. And as we take a look at all the temperatures across eastern Kentucky, showing a pretty warm 76 here in Hazard, 75 Prestonsburg, those lower 70s down into the Cumberland Valley. It was an absolutely beautiful day. Hopefully you got to get out and enjoy it because those clouds are increasing. And of course, we know when clouds increase, usually that means rain is on the way, and we do see those rain chances increase as we head especially into those overnight hours. That's going to make for a gloomy Friday. We do see most of those chances continuing into your Friday. We do clear out by your Friday evening, and looks like we're going to have a pretty warm weekend as well. Maybe even a few chances for storms as well. And so we'll talk about that and more coming up in just a little bit. Steve.
All right, thank you, Paige. The Kentucky Lottery is celebrating a birthday today. 30 years ago today, the first ticket was sold. One of the establishments that's been selling the tickets all along is a small Clark County grocery store. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to the owner about what the lottery has meant for her business.
In 30 years, the South Main Grocery here in Winchester has sold everything from $1 million winners to scratch-off winners, and this is the kind of establishment where the conversations inside are just as important and notable as what you pay for at the counter. Audrey Young is the owner, and she says she vividly remembers that first day of sales and how nervous she was. She says the lottery has changed a lot over the years. 12 years ago, they sold a $1 million ticket, and the store received $10,000 and a lot more attention and business. And she says the people that won that money received a payout during a very difficult time in their lives.
Right after she won it, her husband had a stroke. So they helped with nursing for him. And then she's in the Willows now in Lexington at a nursing home.
The Kentucky Lottery says during that first day 30 years ago, there were about 5,000 stores selling lottery tickets, generating about $5 million in lottery proceeds. In Clark County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Young says she was always for the lottery and believes it has helped Kentucky education. It is a happy ending to an Amber Alert after a missing teenager was found safe in Alabama. Police say 16-year-old Lauren Sizemore was found yesterday with her step-grandfather, Glenn Harper, in Orange Beach. We are told Harper was detained, but it is unclear if he was charged. Sizemore went missing from her home in Dawson Springs this past weekend. A Georgia police officer is in the hospital after being shot earlier today. Grady Hospital in Henry County confirmed that an officer is being treated there. Police say the shooting was related to an incident where a suspect was barricaded in their home. No further details have been released, including if anyone else was hurt. President Donald Trump faces pressure to reveal more information regarding claims of Russian collusion and his tax returns. According to reports in the New York Times and Washington Post, Robert Mueller's investigators reportedly believe William Barr left out important details in his summary of the special counsel's report on Russian interference in the 2016 election. On top of this, the House Ways and Means chairman sent a formal request to the IRS yesterday to inspect the president's tax returns. There is debate over whether these moves are a matter of politics or policy.
The people that have been involved in this process, they've wasted 2 years of their life, and they need to find a way to validate it. They've lost in 2016, they lost on the collusion battle, and now they're looking for any and everything they can to continue to attack this president.
This increased pressure comes shortly after the House Judiciary Committee obtained a subpoena for the full Mueller report. As President Trump continues threatening to close the U.S. border with Mexico, he plans to visit the area tomorrow. The president will travel to Calexico, California, to tour the border. He is expected to see a 30-foot section of replacement fencing that was installed last year and participate in a roundtable discussion with law enforcement. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders told reporters Tuesday that there is no specific timeline regarding border closings. The House voted to extend the Violence Against Women Act, but the Senate has their own version they are working on. The bill provides protections for survivors of domestic violence and includes new gun-related provisions which were opposed by the NRA. Republicans took issue with the bill's lifetime ban on individuals convicted of misdemeanor charges of stalking or domestic abuse on purchasing firearms. The law currently applies to felony convictions. Authorities have new details on the Ethiopian plane crash that killed 157 people last month, saying the jet was in good condition and that flight sensors were not damaged. Ethiopian investigators say the pilots of Flight 302 repeatedly followed Boeing's emergency procedures but could not regain control of the plane. Sources believe a sensor malfunction triggered an anti-stall feature on the 737 MAX shortly after takeoff. They appeared to deviate from guidelines after multiple attempts to regain control by turning the system back on. This reactivated the anti-stall system, pushing the plane into a nosedive.
An emergency like this, that MCAS software is a monster. It comes in quick, it comes in firm, and it has a very aggressive nose-down limit.
Boeing's entire MAX fleet remains grounded until the FAA declares the planes are safe, and Ethiopian investigators expect a final report to be released within a year. We have a food recall we need to tell you about. Advance Pierre Foods, a subsidiary of Tyson, is recalling more than 10 tons of ready-to-eat beef patties. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the company received at least 2 consumer complaints about finding purple plastic in the food. The recalled patties were produced last November in Oklahoma and were distributed to schools nationwide. The USDA says these burgers were not a part of the National School Lunch Program. Officials urge anyone who purchased the burgers to throw them out or return them to where they were purchased. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Thursday afternoon. The Dow closes up today more than 166 points. Today marks the 51st anniversary of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. Just after 6 p.m. on April 4th, 1968, King was shot while standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. The 39-year-old was rushed to a hospital where he died. Each year, a moment of silence is held at the Lorraine Motel at 6:01 p.m. to commemorate Dr. King. The Lorraine Motel is now home to the National Civil Rights Museum. Well, we want to remind you about Power Up the Pantry in Hazard and Prestonsburg tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., rain or shine. You can drop off non-perishable food items, baby supplies, or monetary donations at the ARH Medical Mall parking lot in Hazard or the Big Sandy Community and Technical College parking lot near the Science Center in Prestonsburg. WYMT is one of many businesses, colleges, and local governments participating. Coming up on First at 4, a missing persons case may finally be solved in Kentucky after 8 years.
And rain chances return, but for how long? We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.